Tel Cockerel. He's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tel Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions leak, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tel Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tel Cockerel. Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tel Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tel Cockerel. The predictions league, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tel Cockerel. The show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tel Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tel Cockerel. The show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tel Cockerel.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Jose and Chang Talk Tottenham, episode 11. I did say good morning because it's morning for me, but I'm going to say good afternoon to Chang and good evening to those that are in the evening. And yeah, welcome to episode 11. We haven't spoken for a week. A lot and nothing has happened for me in a week. But I hope everybody is well that's tuning in. I can see that Shemtan's here. Shemtan, if you look one above you, Finn forgot to put his predictions in and has done the 8 remaining Premiership games. You're more than welcome to do so. If you want to do them, I will put them in for you. I was having high hopes that you'd reach 100 points, Shemtan. But anyway, that's that. Chang, sir, it's been a week. How are you, mate? How are you doing?
I am feeling well. Feeling very pumped up for the upcoming Europa League final. Despite our final away defeat of the league campaign for 2024-25. Had a very restful weekend and looking forward to end my Sunday on a bang so that I can get this week underway. Without further ado, having said that, Back to you, Jose.
I haven't done banners this week, and the reason why I haven't done banners is because, yeah, it is what it is. Right, so basically, it's a week ago. So we start with last Sunday. Last Sunday, we lost a London derby to Crystal Palace by 2-0. It's fair to say, in my eyes, it could have been a lot more than 2-0. So we need to talk about that game first. And then, obviously, we talk about Friday night's game where, again, we lost 2-0 to Aston Villa. So, Chang, I'll start with Palace. What can you say about the Crystal Palace game?
I mean, what else is there to say other than the team that were better, or rather, should I say, the better team won on the day? And as you quite rightly put it, I think they could have won by a whole lot more. So I think 2-0 was a rather fair result. I can't even remember us putting in many chances, apart from maybe one or two efforts on goal from distance, I think, towards the end of the second half. But apart from that, I think we should just be thankful, Jose. We should just be thankful. Last Saturday, when we hosted Palace, we only lost by 2, and we only lost Kulusevski from what is looking to be a long-term injury. Hopefully, he recovers well, and he recovers fast before the start of next season, before the beginning of next season. Although I think that is might not be even possible, but let's keep our fingers crossed. But about the game itself, well, I mean, the rightful winners won, and I think they prepared for their FA Cup final yesterday afternoon in the best possible way with that 2-0 win. They kept a clean sheet at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They kept another clean sheet yesterday afternoon en route to lifting the FA Cup final, and I'm so glad for them. And if memory serves me right, I think Eberechi Eze has scored 3 in 2. He scored 3 in 2. He scored 2 against us, and he scored 1 yesterday, the winner against Manchester City, to win Crystal Palace's first ever major trophy. And this was the one player that I had earmarked even before, pre-season of this season, that we should go all out for him rather than trying for the likes of Odobier or Tel. And I was really hoping that Son Heung-min's, his relationship with him will have helped in that matter. But regardless, I honestly think Eberechi Eze has just increased his market value with those 3 consecutive goals, beginning with those 2 at our ground. So, I mean, a loss is still a loss. I'm not making any excuses. It was 20. It was only 20 on last Saturday. I'm not even going to start mentioning the Villa loss, but a loss is still a loss. And like I said, I'm just glad it was only the 1 injury to Kulusevski. Although I have to add that I think it was either Tel or Odobier, who was getting knocked about a lot, and either one of them found themselves lying prone on the ground once too often to my liking. But nevertheless, thankfully, they themselves didn't pick up injuries. I'm hoping that we will hopefully have Bergvall back by Wednesday, but I'm not going to break into that just yet. I'll keep that for later. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that loss at home. 2-0, I think, was very kind on us. I did mention earlier they could have scored a whole lot more, and let's hope that the 4 goals that we conceded in 2 consecutive league losses would be enough to give our primary defenders Van der Ven and Romero sufficient sort of encouragement to try their best against United on Wednesday. Having said that, back to you, FA.
For me, I can talk about the game against Crystal Palace because that's the one I did watch. I didn't watch Aston Villa. because that's normally back in the day, and not too distant past. I mean, you're aware I play football 3 times a week, and so I play on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. So on a Monday, if Tottenham are on a Monday night game, I can play football because Monday night doesn't start till 8 o'clock kickoff, and I kick off at 6. On a Wednesday, when we were in Europe in the Champions League, or if we had a Wednesday night game, I would miss Wednesday night football to watch Tottenham. On a Friday, I do a double session. I play twice on a Friday, and the first game kicks off at 7 o'clock in the evening. And on Friday, I could have just missed football and watched Tottenham versus Aston Villa. I chose to go and play football. That's where I've got with the club this season, where I could not be asked to watch the game. And by all accounts, it's another loss. I didn't get to see the game. All I can say, if I'm going to critique Tottenham Hotspur as a club or as a football team, is that on Sunday, I'm not sure whether we put up a fight on Sunday against Crystal Palace. And from what I'm hearing, I'm not sure whether we put up a fight against Villa, because whether you're 0-0 at half time against someone or not, we still lost the game 2-0. And over both games, and I know that Ange has changed the team twice. He's played different players, and he's left a lot of players that he thinks will be in his first team on Wednesday out. It doesn't matter. You're still sending out a team for a Premiership game. And for me, and I'm going to be absolutely tell you exactly where I am. After we beat Bodo Glimt, the minute we beat Bodo Glimt, I knew we had Man United in the final. I predicted that we'd win 2-0. I'm not going to change my prediction because that would be wrong of me to do so. However, since Bodo and watching us in the Premiership and losing the players we've lost to injury in the 2 games in the Premiership, where was the creativity? Where was the goal threat in the last 2 games? We scored no. I know we scored no goals, Chang, but where was the goal threat? The players that came into play offered nothing in goal threat. And to me, okay, they might not be the players that start in the final, but to me, it's a concern. Going into a final with players that are undercooked, players that have no positivity about them, it becomes a really difficult watch for me. But anyway, before we continue, do you know what I haven't done? I haven't said hello to people in the chat. Sorry, my bad. Right, good morning, Finn. Finn, who's put in his predictions, that he's obviously missed the show, but he's put his predictions in for the final 8 games of the Premiership because all the other games have been played. Shemtam, I asked him to do so as well, but he says, good morning, Bossman Jose and the youngest looking old Tibetan man, Mr. Chimichanga Chang. Hope you're both doing well today. We are, Shemtam. I hope you are too. Ellie, I did get your message. So sorry I couldn't join you boys today. Sent you a message. Hi to all in the chat. Big up coming you Spurs. Going to Bilbao tomorrow with my brothers. I'm so excited. Have fun. Jimmy, good morning, Jimmy. Says big up Jose Chang in the chat. Graham says, morning, Jose, Mr. Chang. Hope you're both well. It's about the countdown to Wednesday. Let's do this. Right, Jimmy Oxford asked Graham, how are your predictions going? And Graham's response is, middle of the road, I think, not enough to catch Jose or Dan. Okay, Graham, so far, you are man of the week, is all I'm going to say, so far. By a country mile, I would say as well. There is between Dan, me, and Graham, there's 4 points between us all. So there was 10 points between us all. There is now 4 points between us all. I'm just hoping that my 8 games in the Premiership turn me around, because otherwise, as things stand at the moment, I've dropped the place. So there's your answer for you, Graham. Graham's playing all coy saying he thinks he's middle of the road. He's actually man of the week this week. Just to let people know, he's got 4 greens at the moment, so I'll let you decide on what score you think he's got. There we go. Who else we got here? I said, yeah, Wayne's here. Good morning, Wayne. As far as the league goes this season, it's proved that we don't have sufficient experience on the bench as backup. I'm going to come back to that. Niall Kane. Good morning, Niall. I hope you guys are well. Good morning, Niall. I hope you're well. Wayne Bonner says, I can't see Eze choosing Spurs as a move this season. Would have put a fair few transfer targets off, as well as not knowing if Ange will be here next season. Jimmy says, just think how much profit we would have had by buying Eze last summer. Wayne says, if memory serves me, didn't we have the chance to get Eze from QPR for 20 million before he chose Palace? We have the chance to sign everybody before they choose Palace, before they choose other clubs. It's just the way things are doing. Jimmy says, Graham, I'm going to stop doing Premier League and concentrate on foreign leagues. Having another mayor, says Jimmy. Jimmy Hotspur, who's doing really, really well and says that he's going to concentrate. He's having another mayor. Jimmy Hotspur is in double figures. Jimmy's in double figures. You've got Graham in double figures. Not many people in double figures, and they're both moaning about their predictions. Fantastic. I'm just checking. There's not many people in double figures, and these two boys are moaning already. Who else you got here? Jimmy, I think it stands to lose now, mate. Well, it is close. Do you know what that means? I don't know what it means. No.
Unfortunately, I can't read Korean. This is Korean. If it was Chinese, I could interpret
Okay,
Chinese
fair enough.
for you.
All right, fair enough. Okay. Jimmy Oxford says, I'm just the same, Jose, for the first time ever. That's what Levy and Ange has done to us. Good. Let me see. Is it a good morning, Scott? Hello, Jose and Chang. Scott, it's been a minute, mate. I hope you are well, Scott. I hope you're well. Nice to see you. Jimmy is talking about Graham being a blagger. Graham says, wow. Sai Dancers here says, good morning, everyone. Big up Crystal Palace. Well, yes, good morning, Sai. I hope you're well. Jimmy, I had no record of Jose Dan, so I expect them to be doing well. 6:19 p.m. it is for Scott. Archie says, good morning, Jose Chang in the chat. And yeah, Scott. Hello, Scott. It's been a while, mate. I hope, as I said, I hope you're well. I mean, I don't know. Did you watch the game against Aston Villa? Because I think for the whole world knows about Crystal Palace.
I didn't watch it because I think it kicked off at something like 2:30 a.m. On a Friday morning. It kicked off at 2:30 a.m. on a Friday. No, sorry, it was a Saturday morning. Correct. It was a Saturday morning. It was a Friday night for all of you, so it was Saturday morning for me. I didn't watch a single minute of it, and I'm so glad I didn't. I think the result was kind of expected, given how we have something on the horizon, and how Villa themselves are in the hunt for top 4. Which with that win, I think they are right in the mix, and it will be very close. I think when top 4 is concerned, looking at those teams bunched up now, all the way to 6, I think all of them stand a chance. And I did see this one particular snippet of a Son Heung-min chance that he took by cutting in from the left. I think it was fairly early in the game, although the shots sailed above the bar, but it looks like he's been training hard at that to get himself into those shooting positions where I thought I would expect to see a bit of that last Saturday when we played Palace, but unfortunately he wasn't able to showcase that last weekend. But thankfully, I did see a bit of that, and it wasn't that far off target, and it shows that maybe, just maybe, he will be properly fit and ready for Wednesday nights. But that was the only bits that I saw of the match, Jose. I haven't even seen the goals we conceded, and frankly, I think I'd rather not, knowing that we had, I think it was Kinski in goal again. We had Kinski in goal, his second consecutive league match, and also the second consecutive time he's conceded two in quick succession back-to-back league games. So hopefully that in itself wouldn't damper, his spirits. But again, what can I say? It's yet another loss, the 21st loss of our current nightmarish 2024-25 campaign. I really do hope it's the last and final loss of this season, Jose, because if we do, win on Wednesday night, and we are going to have ourselves a trophy. I would say a lap around the stadium, with the trophy on our, our end of season lap of honor for the players and the staff. I would like nothing more than to sign off on a high note against Brighton next weekend. Although I think that in itself is also going to be a bit of a problem, especially if Brighton have every chance of qualifying for top four. But I'm not going to preview that just yet. All I would say about the loss against Villa is that, again, I'm so glad I didn't watch a single minute of it. And yeah, the loss was pretty much expected. But unlike the loss to Palace, we didn't pick up any new injuries. Fingers crossed. The players who lost, they don't get too disheartened, and they don't get too down from that loss. And absolutely looking forward to see who makes it on the plane to Bilbao tomorrow on Monday. I think that's when the players are going to be jetting out to Bilbao. And all I will say is that the players who played on Friday night, they need to get this loss out of the system. Hopefully, the minutes for Sonny did him a world of good in his final preparations for Wednesday night. And again, yet another loss. But I mean, I can't blame Big Ange and the players right now for pulling their punches. Having seen what happened to Kulusevski, all I would say is that let that be the final lesson before we face United. Onwards and upwards. Back to you, Jose.
Right, so since Ed's come in and he says, good morning, Jose and Chang in chat. Good morning, Ed. I hope you are well. Ellie says, Wayne, yes, we did have the chance to sign Eze from hubby's team, QPR. Wayne says, cheers, Ellie. It's what I thought we did. We missed another opportunity. Jimmy's asking Ellie, how's our winger doing there at QPR? And didn't get a time check, but Peter Kagayas has come in and he's gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you very much, Peter. It's very, very kind of you, and appreciated already by some that have received it by saying thanks to you. So AJ got a membership from you. Indian Scouser got a membership from you. Side Dancer, who said thanks in the chat, has got a membership from you. Queen Ellie, who's also thanked you in the chat, has received a membership from you. And Vindaloo has received a membership. And Vindaloo, no doubt, if he's around or if he sees this, Vindaloo would come in and say thank you as well. So thank you very much, Peter. It's very kind of you. Right, Chang, I don't know where to take this because really keep talking about negativity all the time with the last 2 losses that we've had. And that's been a negative week for us. Also, the injury on the injury front has been a negative week for us. Surely this was the time again, and I say again because this has happened over and over and over again. It's time for players to show up when they're given an opportunity. And again, they've not taken the opportunity. They've not shown up. Now, I was on a show yesterday. Some people in the chat know the show that I was on yesterday. And we are 17th in the league. And the person on the show yesterday showed a league table from 7th downwards. And I think 7th are Nottingham Forest, I think was 7th. And they were all, the host was saying, surely Tottenham have a better squad than all the teams going all the way up to 7th. And that's exactly why he showed 7th. And I turned around and said, I thought last year, at the end of the transfer window in the summer, I kept my powder dry. Didn't say nothing to no one until the transfer window closed. And when it closed, I turned around and I said, I think we're 5 players light. 5 players shy in the first team, right? And so when I was asked the question yesterday, nothing's changed because we're still light. When I was asked the question yesterday, I turned around and I said that I feel that other teams do have better squads. I don't mean 25 players, because a squad is 25. Everyone's got 25 players. And out of the 25 players, I said that some squads have a better 15 or 16 than what we've got. You know, a first 15 or 16, not necessarily a whole of the 25 players. So I was asked for teams that I thought it was. I then gave my answer as for the teams I thought it was, only to then be told, yeah, but at the start of the season, would you have changed X for X? And I said, but that's not the question I'm being asked. I'm being asked, what do I think that we should have a better squad than others? I've said in the end, I think our squad that we have should be able to get us to 8th place in the league. Now, I'll look at the players that didn't play against Palace. I look at the players that didn't play against Villa, because I saw the lineups. And when I see it, I think to myself, okay, so if you take 7 players out of the squad, and then you've got 4 injuries. So we've got 4 injuries. So 7 and 4 is 11. Take 11 out of the squad, that leaves you with 14 players, right? Even the 14 players we had playing, they look useless. They look absolutely useless. And so, and my final response was that where I believe, and it's all a matter of opinions, it doesn't mean that one is right or wrong. It's just I was asked and I gave my opinion. And my opinion still is that we're still 5 players light at the moment. And if Tottenham win on Wednesday, that means that's Champions League football for the next season. And soon as if you get Champions League football, at the minute you win the cup and you hold the trophy, at that minute or the minute the final whistle goes, we are then 10 players light for next season. Because the Champions League is a different beast. You need a different type of squad to manage football on all 4 fronts playing in the Champions League. I can't see us competing at the way we are at the moment. I can't see us competing in the Champions League next season. So, you know, and people will say, yeah, but it's the first season for some of these youngsters, and we don't need youngsters. We need players of proven quality. You've got people in the chat all talking about Eze yesterday. Chang, you spoke about Eze playing against us at Crystal Palace at last weekend. Well, Chang, where do we go from here? What is happening? Where do we go from here?
This might sound very cliche, and I think we have spoken about this maybe 2 or 3 episodes back before Jose and Chang went into double figures. But I honestly believe that the key to all this now lies with Paratici. If Paratici does indeed return to our employ, and we do retain his services, then I think he can be the difference maker. I've said it for a good long while that for me, I think Paratici is the one thing that's the one and only one thing that has been a shining light for us, even before we got rid of Nuno. And I still maintain that if we do, get Paratici, I think he will be the one who will turn things around for us, although it won't be an immediate thing because of our business model and because of the way Levy and Inik operate. I think we are still going to be stuck with, signing Ashley Phillipses and Luka Vusković's and probably even Yang Min Hyuk's for the foreseeable future. But if somehow Paratici can then convince the board to get, say, some upgrade over Richarlison, maybe buy someone with tried and proven Premiership experience like Richarlison, but who is a better finisher than Richarlison, or even an upgrade over Solanke, then maybe, just maybe, we still might be able to, turn this around and be able to compete regularly and not just scraping past into Champions League via the Europa League. But yeah, again, I have to say, and as I've been saying it for a good long while now, Paratici holds all the aces for us, Jose. And I'm not even trying to downplay his importance. I believe that with him around and with the proper manager to steer this team and nourish the players, I believe then we could see something special happen in a few seasons' time. That's when the likes of Bergval and Pepe Matassar, possibly even Udogi, or even Spence, they should be blooming around maybe in a season's time or two. But again, all of this now lies with Paratici and whether he can get those few veterans to sort of supplement our youngsters and spearhead the team forward. All in all, I think Paratici holds, the key to all our unanswered questions of where the club's future lies. And I think he would start. But if Paratici does get a job, I think his first big task is to replace Son. Don't get me wrong, I honestly still will feel it deep in my bones that Son has a very, very vital role for us come Wednesday night. But his immediate replacement has to be on the radar. If anything, it should be the first and topmost priority for us this summer. And all of that now lies with Paratici. So where do we go from here, Jose, to answer your question? Paratici. That's the one and only answer I can offer up now. There are a few other answers I have, but rather than drag this on, I will just leave it at that. My final thoughts on this matter is that if Paratici does come, he needs to be back, and back not just by by cheap signings or signings for the future. We need immediate players who can walk into that starting 11. Having said that, back to you, FA.
All right, so let's just catch up with the chat and then I'll come back to you. I don't think it's a point that we need to stop talking about now. I think it's vitally important that we talk about it going forward because this is our future that we're talking about. The here and now is being gone. We've lost it. We can't get that back. 21 losses in the league. We can't get that back. The be all and end all's happened. We can't get that back. It's what we do from today onwards. So it's what we do in the cup final. It's what we do in our last game against Brighton. It's then what we do in the summer and where we land ourselves for the start of next season, which I think is vitally important because if we don't do nothing about it, next year we're relegated. Simple as. Queen Ellie says, and so as I said, I didn't watch the game. She says, although we didn't pose a big goal threat versus Villa, we had 3 good opportunities to score. 2 by Odebert was such a great opportunity too, but his back flick was saved by Martinez. That indeed was our best chance. So the no-look flick is what we're relying on as one of our best chances. Graham says, Jose, mate, we have all given hundreds of predictions this season. The only one that we all need to get right is on Wednesday. Queen Ellie says, sing it, everybody. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control. I think I like it. Yeah. So she's going to Bilbao with her brothers. I'm making Spanish dishes all week and listening to Spanish songs. Jose, you are my Spanglish recipe king. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, she's been asking me for tips to make Spanish food. I watched the first half of the Villa game, fell asleep at half-time. Our attack was limp. We need to build on the midfield, and Spence simply wasn't at the races. Archer says, to attract Eze, I think we would definitely have to win the Europa to get Champions League football, as Eze will have Europa League at Palace next season. Wayne Bonner then says, I've been saying for years we need ready-to-go players. This youth policy eventually will cost the club big time. The young players need experience to teach them. Ed M says 3 or 4 top players, not sometime players, who show up if they feel like it. Players who turn up for the whole season that could elevate everybody else in the squad. And Ellie's going back to, says it's plain as the nose on all our faces. Jed Spence looks disinterested as he was abruptly dumped for a doggy by Ange after being so great. Maybe, just maybe, Ange has killed his spirit. That's the impression I'm getting. Spencer's a starter, but also a confidence player. His mentality seems to crumble at hurdles. And Shemtam says, totally agree with the old young man, Mr. Chang. Except need more than Paratici because the whole team at the top is rotten. Right, so it's interesting. It's interesting. There's a load of talking points. Right, Sonny played on Friday, played, I don't know, 60 minutes, whatever it was. As I said, I'm so disinterested, didn't watch the game. So I'm going to say he played 60 minutes. I'm going to guess he's played 60 minutes on Friday. Right, Sonny, and I hear what you say, Chang. Right, does Sonny deserve to start the final?
Let's put it this way, Jose. We have to learn from the lessons from 6 years ago. Also in Madrid, also in Spain, when Harry Kane, a less than fit Harry Kane, came in for Lucas Moura, and I wasn't particularly, pleased to see that, given how Lucas Moura was the reason we even qualified for the Champions League the last time around. I thought it was very unfair that he be dropped, and in this case of Sonny, I think it would be rather unfair as well for him to be, starting. Although you have to remember and you have to understand that we have practically zero creative midfielders. Assuming Bergvall isn't fit to start, we don't have a Madison or even a Kulusevski to call upon. So I think this is a tough one to call, Jose. This is a very, very tough, question for me to answer. Off the top of my head, I would say no, because then that would be a bit of a disservice to all the other players who have been trying and training very hard. But if Son is the one bright spark that we need, and we will have to call upon his European and international experience to spearhead whatever forward line we have left come Wednesday night, then most probably we have to stick with him more out of desperation than necessity. That's what I would say about Son. If Son starts on Wednesday night, I think it's more out of desperation than it is out of necessity. And I would like to be proven wrong. I would very much like to be proven wrong. Maybe someone in the chat can, just give me a quick explanation as to why they think Sonny would be their preferred choice to start maybe at left wing over, say, either one of Odebeer or Tel in that wing. But other than that, otherwise, then the only way I see it actually competing on Wednesday is if we start with two forwards, and if that means there is no room for Son in that starting 11, then so be it. But my final thoughts on this matter, Jose, is that if Son isn't fully fit, then he shouldn't be anywhere near that starting 11. Maybe put him on at halftime if things aren't going too well for us in the first half, because if you do start him right from the get-go, then we already know that his stamina, his speed, his acceleration, even his overall game has dropped dramatically and drastically in the past 2 seasons since Kane is gone, and I can't see that picking up anytime soon. So soon after him returning from injury. So if Son is to be used, I think he should be used sparingly. But don't get me wrong again, I think he can be a difference maker, just not from the get-go. Having said that, back to you, FA.
As we're talking, I'm going to ask the chat, tell us your starting lineup for the final. I'm interested to see where everyone's thoughts are. Give us your starting lineup for the final, and then we can have a look at it and we can critique it, because it's all right us talking and we can continue talking, but I want to see what you guys think out there so we can have a look. Now, my thoughts are, right, I think, right, that Son of late has been a blunt instrument, right, because he's got the 20-odd GA for the season already, but that came earlier on in the season. In the latter part of the season, he's looked like a blunt instrument. He hasn't taken players on, hasn't scored goals, hasn't got assists. of late. But earlier on this season, he had loads. He did lots and lots and lots of stuff, right? Some people, I mean, I don't know what lineup's going to be, but some people will turn around and say that it could well be Richarlison, Solanke and Johnson as a front three. But then if you're doing that, then the midfield, does the midfield pick itself? I know the back five does. If there's no injuries, the back five picks itself. Does the midfield pick itself? We've got 3 midfielders left. So is the midfield then going to be Bentancur, Bissouma and Sarr? You know, and so these are things that's why I want to know what people think their lineups would be for Wednesday, so we can have a look and give us some different thoughts. To me, we've been blunted by the loss of Pulu, Maddison, and Berger. So with them 3 out, you know, I think that the midfield then either picks itself, or you have to throw a wild card in there. You can play a double pivot of Bissouma and Bentancur, and then pick the extra attacker to play in the 10 role. Could Sonny play the 10 role? This is what I'm saying. I don't know. That's why I'm trying to ask questions of people. And so far, we've got 2 people that have put their team sheets in. But before we get to them, let's have a look. You've got Adam says, I'd start Son. He managed over 70 minutes against Aston Villa. That's enough for me. He's still our best attacker. Shem Tam says, agreeing too much today. Agree with Queen Eddie. If Son wasn't so unfit and still in need of game time to get his mojo back, he could have finished some of his chances versus Villa. Ellie then says, we have to start Son. He still has 21 goal contributions, so he poses a good goal threat. And who else have we got? He starts in my eyes. Jimmy says, Sonny had a great chance to open a scoring room one-on-one and chose to pass to nobody. Amin, good morning or good evening or good afternoon to you, Amin. It's been a while. I've not seen you. I hope you're well. Sonny is an Asian player. He must start, says Amin. Wayne Bonner says, I'd start Richie and bring Son on later. He's our captain too, and I can't see Ange not starting him. NM says, as others have been saying, if a chance falls to anyone, you want it to be Son. Wayne Bonner simply says, same as a semi-final with the change of Son on the bench. Jimmy Osman says, we need to get our experienced players on the pitch Wednesday, even if it's not in the greatest of form. Then we've got Jimmy Oxford. So, right. So I'm just going to, I've got three people. Paul Pablo's here. Says, hi, Jose. Good morning. We've got four people have put their starting lineups in, and we can have a look in a minute. Is Sarr fit, Scott? As far as I'm aware, he is. Sonny comes on with 20 minutes to go to lift the trophy. And a good morning to you, Ronnie, who's saying good morning to us. So the first person that's put a team sheet in, starting lineup for Graham would be Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, or Doggy. I think it picks itself. He's then going for Biss, Benny, Odebert in the 10, Richie, Solanke, and Tel. Thoughts, Chang?
Can I say something very quickly on Mr. Graham's selection here? I could be wrong, and please do correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Graham. But this looks very much like a 4-4-2. I could be reading this wrong, like I said, but looking at that forward lineup, it will appear to me that we are playing with 2 forwards in the form of Richarlison and Solanke. Maybe, one up front and one maybe just behind him, or maybe 2 operating on either side of each other. But that looks very much like a 4-4-2, assuming that Odebeer is on the left and you have Tel on the right, or maybe they are inverted. Either way, it all points towards Richarlison and Solanke playing together up front. And I think that was actually my own predicted lineup on Friday at 12:30 over on Miss Kate and Jimbo's The Perfect Match. So yeah, this is actually my preferred lineup, or rather my formation, although I might actually consider Porro further up front in right midfield rather than say either one of Odebeer or Tel, because I think Porro actually operates better going forward. And even if that means Jet Spence at right back, then so be it. I would rather have Jet Spence at right back rather than Porro, because we need that solidity at the back. And although I think Porro, would probably operate at right back come Wednesday night, Porro will be my preferred choice at right midfield. So yeah, that could be how I'm interpreting this, Jose. Having
This
said
could
that,
also
back
be,
to
but
you.
this could also be a 4-2-3-1. So you've got Biss and Benny as your double pivots, and then you could have Tel and Odegaard either side of, in the 10 role, Solanke and Richarlison up front. So it could be a 4-2-3-1 as well. Although Graham says 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 is what Graham is saying as well. So that's Graham's. Ellie's starting 11 would be. So she's going for the back five, which we all. Oh, but sorry, she's gone Vicario, Porro, Romero, Vidavi. Would love to see Spence, but it will be a doggy. So midfield, she's going Sarbis and Benny with Johnson, Solanke, and Sonny as the front three. Chang?
Yeah, this is also, I think, what will come to pass, because as much as I want to see that 4-4-2, Mr. Graham predicted earlier, or rather he prefers, I honestly can't see the Ange changing formations at this juncture. Having played with this system for a large portion of his his time at Spurs, I think this should be the more than probable lineup on Wednesday nights. And if anything, I would say maybe, just maybe, I would prefer Sonny on the left as opposed to him on the right, assuming you are putting Johnson on the right, Queen Ellie. But if anything, I honestly think that maybe Richarlison would be a better fit on the left. I know that might sound a bit strange and somewhat controversial, but Richarlison, I think, has been, I wouldn't say it's a better threat, but what I saw of Richarlison against Bodo away in Norway, the way he held up the ball, the way he was just breaking up play and drawing fouls to just break the Bodo rhythm, I think that might be what we need on Wednesday, whereby we need his physicality and his height more so than Son's aging legs. So I mean, I could be wrong again. And again, either one of Richarlison and Son can mud me anytime, and I would gladly eat humble pie. But this is a very, very good shout out. And I think in all likelihood, this is what we will probably see come Wednesday night.
So with Ellie's team lineup, I think Edem's gone for the same lineup as well. It depends on Sar's injury for me. If he's okay, so Edem and Ellie have got the same starting lineup. Yeah, so they've gone for the same starting lineup. Henry Thong TV. Good morning, Henry. I hope you're well. Says Vicario, Porro, Van der Ven, Bentancur, Bissouma, Odegaard, Johnson, Solanke, Richie. So this could be a 4-4-2, or this could be a 4-2-3-1 again. So that would be Odegaard and Johnson would be the wide. Solanke would play just behind Richie, if I look at this rightly. I think that's what Henry's alluding to. Although we do know that he likes to play a 4-3-3. But that's the lineup Henry's gone with. Ronnie always gives us a lineup. Ronnie's gone for Vicario, Porro, Maravidi, Doggy, Best Bentancur. This one's changed. You've got Biss and Bentancur. And then he's gone Sonny, Richie, Solanke, Johnson. So Richie would play left. Johnson would play right. I'm presuming you go Solanke as the 9 and Son in the hole. which is what I said earlier. I said, what about Sonny in the hole? I've got a left field team to pick. To be honest, I've got a left field team to pick. Wayne Bonner says, in the UEFA 84 UEFA Cup finals, we had injuries. Ozzy, Hoddle, and the club captain Perriman. And Clements, if I remember rightly, the goalkeeper was out as well. We had 5 players out for the final in 84, and we took care of business, and the job got done. Jimmy's asking, Graham, you're starting Tel. Ronnie says, I don't want to see Tel or Odeberg starting in this final. Ed M says, United have a real lack of legs in midfield. Outrun and bully them in centre midfield will win. That's why I'd start Sarr. Paul Pablo says, the game I would have played 3 at the back changed the whole system, as we have no creativity, and play a Doggy and Porro as the wing backs. Eddie's talking, what I love being Greek is that when Ange was told in an interview he'll be the first Australian to win a European trophy, and his response was, and I'll be the first Greek to win one. Wayne Bonner says, if I was a gaffer, I'd consider a 3-5-2 wing-back system. Dan's here. Small downs to you, Dan. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Nice to see you on a Sunday morning. Ellie says, Porro has a great pass and a cross from corners. He puts in dangerous balls too. Henry Thong says, Richie can be a nuisance for oppositions, which is great for us. Ellie says, Chang, if things aren't going too well, definitely see the pigeon prue. Oderbert in the 10 says Henry Thong. Jimmy Hotspur says he would go for, if everyone's fit, he would go for it. And he's got a change of a team here. He's got Vicaria, Porro, VDV, Romero, Doggy. Yeah. His midfield 3 would be Biss, Benny, and Bergvar. And he'd have Solanke, Richie, and Son if all fit. Interesting. Because you're saying the 3, if you were going on values of players, your 3 most valuable forwards you would put into the team on values, so Son, Solanke, and Richie. Interesting. That's an interesting lineup, Jimmy. Good morning, Nige. I hope you're well. So this is being at Jose Chang in chat. Much love. Good morning, Nige. I hope Nige is well. And he's saying, smash that like, show your support for the 2 of the nicest guys on YouTube. You're a nice guy as well, Nige. There's a lot more than 2 of us that are nice. Marianne says, big up Jose Chang in the chat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Marianne. I hope you're well. Paul Pablo says, they have to pay Danso somehow, so playing 3 at the back makes sense. Right. Do you know what? I'm going to throw a curveball as a lineup. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, Chang, is I'm going to put my lineup in the back so people can see what my mad lineup would be. Right. This is my mad lineup. Right. So that's that one. And then I'll have him. I'll have him. And I'll have him. And then I'll move on to my midfield, and I would have what's his name? Yeah. And I would have him. Right, I have got my lineup, and this might. There's my lineup. I would play 4-2-3-1. So I would play Porro, Danso, Van der Ven, or Doggy as my back 4. In my midfield, the two holding pivot midfielders for me would be Romero and Bentancur. And then my midfield, the three behind the forward, I'd pick Ritchie, Son, and Johnson with Solanke up front. For me, the player, who's the most important player for Manchester United?
It's got to be Bruno Fernandes, hands down. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think it should be Bruno.
Yeah, so Bruno. So what you do is you're double pivot in midfield. You pick someone that's going to track Bruno all the time. And that's why I've put Romero in there. So this is fluid. This could turn into a 3-5-2. This could start off as a 4-2-3-1. This can all change to a 4-3-3. So me, I'd pick Son. I'd put Son in behind Solanke, is what I'd do. Son in behind Solanke. But I'd move Romero into midfield and play him alongside Bentancur. Him and Bentancur have got a good telepathy between them both. And then I'd bring in Danso. Who have Man United got up front? They haven't got fit forwards, but if they did have, it's either Joshua Zirkzee or Højlund. Danso and VDV could deal with them two, for me, comfortably. So I would go and change and pick. Someone did say, what you do is you pick your most experienced players. And for me, that, would be one of the more experienced sides that we could pick, because all these players, one thing they've all got is experience. So, you know, I'm going for a left field. Like I said, I'm going for a left field choice here. That's why I've gone different to everybody else, just to throw something in there in the mix. But like I said, with Romero as a double pivot, or you can switch it at any time in the game where Romero then falls into a back three, so to speak, because Tottenham, when we attack, when we invert, if you invert with one player, that means you've still got three at the back. So whether it's Porro that attacks, then a doggy and the other two stay back. Whether it's a doggy that attacks, then Porro and the other two stay back. So basically, if you let Porro and the doggy attack, Romero could drop from the double pivot role into the holding and have the two centre-halves beside him. I just think it's a fluid team. It's an absolutely fluid team. But I'm just throwing something absolutely different out there for you guys to have a think about. Experience wins trophies. Look back in history. Queen Ellie says, Sarr has legs. I think he has to start to help the defensive side to nullify Fernandes. This and Benny will be in the double pivot. We need to stop Dallo. Munoz at Villa, Torres are left-hand side apart, and Dallo will do the same. The only difference is, for me, Chem, the team that Villa put out, we didn't have any of our back four playing against Villa, and or against Palace. So therefore, you know, at the end of the day, what these players do against what Palace and Villa did against us will be totally different with what when we've got the fit back four out there. Dan says Romero in a double pivot asking for trouble. I bet you would get sent off in 45 minutes. I said, right, that with I did say I think you've put your comment in, Dan. I think before I was able to explain why I'd done what I did. What I did in the sense of, from the players that we have left, is I've put in the most experienced team that we can, and I've put a team in there that you could maneuver, manipulate, and change round. I just think the chemistry between Bentancur and Romero is superb. Always has been. And I'm talking about a double pivot, but then I'm talking about him being able to drop into a three. So it gives Porro license and a doggy license to go up. And then we've got some defensive cover there as well, because we all know that Bentancur is naturally an 8, not 6. So, you know, it then just means that if you then come out of the double pivot into a single pivot, then you're then getting the best out of Romero, who can drop back in, and then you got the best out of Bentancur, who can then go and play the natural 8 position, and then you don't lose anything out defensively. So that's what I said. For me, I would say that with that, for me, that's the most experienced side we could put out, is what I'm going to say. The most experienced side we could put out, and you can change and manipulate. However, do we have a manipulator in Ange? I don't know whether we have Ange as a manipulator who can change up the team as and when needed. Shentan says it meant Munoz at Palace. Graham says, only concern, Jose, would it be a race between Kuti and Bruno to see who gets the red card? Yesterday, De Bruyne, who's City's playmaker, was marshalled. We have to do the same with Bruno, keep him at arm's length. Marshal him in the same way. We get it right, we win like Palace did. Paul Pablo says that my selection would work. Marianne said, I would be a bit worried about having Romero midfield with his rash tackles. I've said, I can't really reiterate what I've just said. I'll just keep saying it again. I've picked the team with the most experience that you can change and manipulate in game, is what I'm going to say. Start with the team that you got there, says Shemtan. Was very happy for Palace yesterday. A great team performance, says Marianne. Queen Ellie says, I just pray that we get the sensible play, discipline Romero, as we mustn't give silly free kicks away with rash tackles around our penny box. That's inviting trouble. And look who's here, Chang. Look who's here. We've got Drula saying, morning, Jose Chang, and the Cockerel crew. Good morning, Drula. I hope you are well. I hope you're well. And she, look, Julius Cummings says, smash those lights up. I can see that some haven't. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Paul Van Beek, who says, I think he will play a midfield three of Benton, Bissouma, and Odeber as the 10. Interesting. Interesting. We've got lots of differing opinions, Chang. With all the different opinions, Chang, what are your thoughts? Because there's lots of different opinions from everybody here today.
I think the only that matters right now is to pick. I mean, as far as the lineup is concerned, I think there are so many possible permutations, but I think it all comes down to the players that want it most or want it more than others. And even if it means, say, this could be controversial, but let's say, just for the sake of trying to get everyone on the same page here, there is a reason why I didn't dismiss Son starting altogether on Wednesday. Earlier when you mentioned whether Son should be starting or not, and I honestly feel that it's players like him that have a lot to prove, especially to us fans, or even to me, the pundits and commentators alike. I honestly feel that when it comes down to it, I would definitely go for players who are going to be playing out their skin for the crest more than their own personal pride, more than their own, agendas or their own egos. And I think when it comes to team selection, I would definitely be picking the players who put the club ahead of themselves. And that is the one thing that I will be looking more at more than anything when it comes to my team selection. All in all, I think I would still like to have a balance between, say, youth and the seniors, the veterans. But more than ever, I think this is the one match that we need to rely on the veterans and the experience. And there was one particular game. There was one particular game in the semi-finals of the Champions League that I would like to draw some comparison to when it comes to our team selection. And that semi-final in particular is the second leg of Inter Milan versus Barcelona. That, I think, is the perfect example as to why experience and your know-how on winning, whether it's winning ugly or winning by the scruff of the neck, that is where games are won and lost. And for the most part, you'd think that Barcelona and Lamine Yamal had the beating of Inter Milan. But lo and behold, it was actually the veterans that pulled through. The old horses did the business, and I think that's where Son comes in. And I wouldn't be surprised really if Richarlison and Solanke are the ones who start over, say, Tel and Odebeer, which maybe leaves, again, this might leave Poro at right midfield if it means Son at left midfield. But all in all, Jose, I honestly think that regardless of how many of us feel, I think this is the one match where I think Big Ange has the I wouldn't say the beating of Amarim, but he has a slight edge over Amarim when it comes to selecting players that he knows will be up for the occasion. And this is the one, if there ever was one match, just one match in Big Ange's whole Spurs career that we really have to trust in the manager's his selection, his squad selection, then this would be it. If there ever was one match for him to make amends for all those bad losses and sometimes clueless game management, this is the one match for him to prove us all wrong. And I think that starts with the starting lineup. And I would still cheer on whichever of our players put on Lily White and take to the pitch on Bilbao. But regardless, I think this is the one game where we cannot afford to let youth dictate our future. Although that might be the case, the long-term scenario when it comes to ENIC and the way we run the club. But this is the one time where we need all the experience we can muster. Let's just hope that we have enough in all the departments to make it count at the final whistle. Having said that, back to you, Jose.
You've got some people in the chat that have been talking away. So Dan says that Man United's clear weakness is that they struggle to deal with teams in transition. Graham says, in the spirit of predictions, I will be 1-1 at half-time and Bruno will be sent off. Spurs win 3-1. Come on, you Spurs. Graham, I've just checked, right? 50 people have predicted, made predictions this week, right? And of them 50, 8 people are in double figures. And you do lead the way so far this week with 8 Premiership games still to be played. You clearly, I won't say clearly, but you are in front at the moment out of all the predictors. You have your man of the week as we stand at the moment. So well done, you, sir. Then you've got Ellie's coming in with all her omens now. Look, she says, I have another omen. Greece played Portugal and beat them 1-0 in the Euros finals in 2004. Angie's representing Greece and versus Amrin representing Portugal. Then she says, Odebert in the 10, no way, too inexperienced and not naturally creative. He's a winger at 10. Driller is saying hello to Dan and then saying, would you use Sart in the 10? Dan says, no, Driller. Driller says, why, Daniel? And Daniel's going to explain. Yep, he says, Driller, because we've already used Sart in the number 10 before a few times. And the Sart experiment in the number 10 has failed on every occasion. Queen Ellie saying, hello, Driller, my beautiful niece. Woo, we are both excited. That's 4. Paul Van Beek has said that my full team would be, he's going for Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven. Bissouma, Bentancur, Odebert, Johnson, Solanke. Has he picked 10 players? You've picked 10 players, Paul. You've missed out a player. There's only 10 there.
I think it's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah, it's 10. Sorry. It's 10. Yep, he's only picked 10.
I thought he was playing with a back 3, but then I'm not sure because he's got a back 3, he's got a midfield 3 and a front 3 and a goalkeeper. So that's 10. So there's 10 players there. Drew is saying fraud alert. 33 in the house. 11 riding free. Smash up those likes. Ed M says, I think over the last 2 games, he should have looked at Tel in the 10. That's not me. Another dreadful one. Still 8 games to go is all I'm going to say. Paige, good morning, Jose, Mr. Chang in the chat. Good morning, Paige. Paul Pablo says, does it not make you mad with Levy when we could have been a Tottenham player? Instead, we got a free on Jedson Fernandez. That's because we wouldn't pay the extra 5 million, if I remember rightly. Paige says 1 day closer to United's trophy, says Paige. Says, I believe in having a stinker. I believe I'm having a stinker so far, but still Prem games to make up points in the next couple of days. Archie, you're in single figures, is what I'm going to say. And Paul Van Beek says, yeah, he missed a doggy. He missed a doggy. Right. So that's the final, Chang. I said last week, or I said on someone's shows so far this week and last week, that Wednesday's game is pivotal in the sense of you have a plan A and a plan B for next season. If you win the Europa League, you got to go down plan A, which is you're going to be in the Champions League. So you got to cut your. You should be cutting your cloth accordingly. If we don't win the Europa League, then you got to look at plan B. And you talked about an important person that we are hoping that comes back to the club in Paratici, because whether it's plan A or plan B, Paratici can pull a lot of strings. Now, my thoughts about this are that he will look at the Italian market again. So he'll look at all the players in the Italian market. And some of the players that you can get from the Italian market represent a hell of a lot more value than the players that you can buy from other leagues. So for argument's sake, and I'm going to say for argument's sake, bearing in mind that most contracts are done over 5 years or 6 years, right? And it means you can monetize a deal over 5 to 6 years. It means to me that if you bought a player, right, that's worth 100 million, we're not going to do that. But if you bought a player that's worth 100 million, all you're paying for that player is 20 million this year, because you spread the 20 million payments over 5 years, right? So if that was the case and we had 200 million to spend, inadvertently, it means that you could bring in 9 players that are worth 100 million pound, because by paying 20 million per year, you're only spending 180. So people have got to remember the monetization of deals, right? I just think that Paratici, yeah, Drula, I was just about to say that, Drula. There is a rumour that Juventus are prepared to let Vlahovic go for 20 million. Yeah, 20 million, Chang. Now, whether you're going down plan A or plan B, 20 million represents great value. A monetizer deal with Vlahovic on fee alone, 20 million pounds, would mean that you're only paying 4 million a year. This is the kind of thing that Paratici does. And so for me, it's important that Paratici does come back to the club. It's important that he started doing his groundwork already, which I believe he probably has done, man Paratici. But I think the representation of value does come from Italy again. There are a lot of players that you can get out of Italy, because Italy will take money for anything because they are stone broke. And I think Paratici knows this. And there are players that we can get. So obviously, plan that if Vlahovic was worth 20 million, you could get Vlahovic in. Doesn't matter whether you've got a plan A or a plan B. 20 million is 20 million. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a crossroads, because it's not a crossroads just for Tottenham. It'll be a crossroads for Man United. Man United have got a bigger fan base. They're a bigger team worldwide.
Yep.
So, and you know, and they are a bigger club than Tottenham. Let's not mince it. They are a bigger club than Tottenham. But the same position that Tottenham are in are the same position that Man United are in. Man United will have a crossroads this season as well, because if Man United win the Europa, they're in the Champions League. They'll have to attract new players as well, and if they lose, then they're going to have to go down a different path. I mean, they're linked with a lot of players at the moment, your Cunhas, your Delaps, and people like that. But would Cunhas and Delaps still go to Man United if Man United did not win on Wednesday and did not qualify? So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like that. So where are your thoughts on that, Chang?
Well, I will say this about Man United and the way they have been operating for a good long while now. And this is well before. This is even well before Sir Alex Ferguson stood down from his his managerial role. And I think regardless of whether or not they win on Wednesday, they will still be a force to be reckoned with come next season, assuming Ruben Amorim gets his players, or rather the players that he wants, to usher in this new era of Man United to try and wrestle back dominance in the district of Greater Manchester, seeing as how Man City have failed to lift a single trophy this season. I think if there ever was a better time for Manchester United to sort of gain control back of Manchester over City, now will be the time. And that even if it means spending crazy money, I think they have more than enough resources. They certainly have the fan base and also the pool, assuming that their plans to upgrade or to renovate their current Old Trafford goes through. I think that regardless of whether they win or lose on Wednesday, they will still be able to get the players that they want and spend with impunity, although still within FFP rules, but they will be spending. But for me, I think more importantly is how they replace players like Bruno Fernandes in the long run, because much like Sonny, he is also on the decline. Although right now I would say that Bruno has an advantage over Sonny. As much as it pains me to have to say this, but I think that is clear as a day. And for United, I think going forward, I think it's very important for them as well to be spending on the right players. I mean, I could be wrong, and Rasmus Højlund could turn out to be a good investment if he is the one who scores the winning goal on Wednesday, and he's the one who then kicks on next season, assuming he still stays at United beyond this season. But yeah, I honestly feel that United, being United, they will be getting the players that they want. Hopefully, we ourselves won't be competing for the same players that United are aiming for. On the whole, I would say that things actually look a lot better for United than it does for us, put it this way, Jose. And for me, I think that should give the players and also the management that little incentive to get one over United on Wednesday night. Hopefully that we are the ones who is going to be challenging on all fronts next season and not United. So yeah, to answer your question, Jose, I think United will still be able to get the players in as they see fit. The only question now is whether are we going to be competing for the same players that they want in. Hopefully if we win on Wednesday, then yeah, we and our Champions League qualification for next season should be the tipping edge of any deals that come our way. Having said that, back to you, Jose.
So, Chang, I was just about to say, you said Man United are in a better position than us, or better off than us. Is that what you said? I think you said that.
Yes, that is correct. I said that. I mean, as much as I want us to be in a better position, United, their fan base, their popularity, given their recent history as well, I would say that they definitely are the better pool, or rather they have the bigger pool compared to us. But I really do hope that after Wednesday night, we will be the ones who will be the preferred destination of summer transfer signings.
Okay, because I don't profess to know the ins and outs of Manchester United, but for me, I'm thinking to myself, Man United are in trouble because of all the cutbacks that they're doing and stuff like that, and that they're sailing close to the wind with this fabled FFP, PSI, and whatever. And so, I mean, as I said, I'm not going to profess that I know the ins and outs of Man United, but we saw what happened last summer, where clubs started horse trading with each other in order to get out of trouble. And, Man United may well have to do something like that. But I feel that Man United are in a world of trouble at the moment, financially. And I think that Man United in order to get themselves out of this world of trouble, or to be on the path of getting themselves out of this world of trouble, they would need to win the final on Wednesday to try and help them get out of the trouble, because then you're guaranteed Champions League money next season. But I wouldn't say that they're in a better position than Tottenham. Hence why there's a lot of rumours around at the moment, and there's no done deals at the moment, because they're waiting, as we are, for Wednesday. Now, as for competing for the same kind of players, I think some players we might be in the same competition with them. But if Paratici's coming back, then we're competing in the Italian market for me, and nobody else. It won't be. It'll be just us that's competing in the Italian market, and I don't think Man United will be competing in that market. But what I was trying to get to as well is, Chang, for me, my personal opinion about this. This is my opinion, not factual. It's just an opinion I've got. Is that regardless of what happens on Wednesday, we should be looking to improve the squad anyway, yeah, regardless of whether we get Europe or not, because we've clearly seen, unless people are going to tell me totally different now, we've clearly seen that our squad that we have at the moment is not a great squad. It's not up to the rigors of the Premiership, and let alone in Europe. But even if we didn't get Europe, God forbid that we didn't win on Wednesday, we didn't get European football next year, I would want to have a competitive squad that could handle injuries, right? That could handle injuries, and even if it was one game a week, that could manage to play that one game a week. Because it's not going to be one game a week, because when you play in the Carabao Cup, that makes it 2 games a week. And if you go far in the Carabao Cup, you'll be playing 2 games a week. If you then get far in the FA Cup, it will be 2 games a week. So for me, at the end of the day, win or lose, obviously I want to win. Let's not twist it. I want to win. But regardless of that, if we didn't win, I still think that we should be putting all our eggs in a basket to improve our squad, because the only way that you challenge or that you get somewhere the following season, if we don't win the cup this year, the only way to get forward next season is by having a stronger squad, because those around us aren't going to rest on their laurels. So we need to go out and improve. But and obviously there are 2 different paths. Win the trophy is one path. Lose the trophy, you're going down a different path. Either way, you need to improve your squad on what you have this season. And I don't want to be the team that ends up losing a trophy and ends up not doing anything because we've lost the trophy, which means that we won't be any better off next season. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense, Jose. And if anything, now that you said it, I think more than ever right now, the management and the board, they themselves have to see for themselves that our not too distant future, or rather our long-term future, lies in silverware, and also constant and consistent qualification for Europe on the world's biggest stage. I think Pochettino himself said it best when we unveiled the new stadium under his tenure, when he said that it's no point having a brand new house if you are still lining up with old furniture. So I think where better to start at Tottenham Hotspur than to line our dusty, empty trophy cabinet. Although it's not all that empty, but it still is gathering dust. With each passing season, without any new additions to it, other than maybe say the Audi Cup. So yeah, I think we definitely need silverware, and sooner rather than later. Hopefully, it's this coming Wednesday night. And hopefully that won't be the only silverware. Assuming we do win on Wednesday, I hope that's not the only silverware of this 20th decade. Hopefully there will be a few more along the way as well, and that will just be the first of many more years to come. But I think we need to start somewhere, Jose. We have the trophy has been long overdue. It's been long overdue. So why not start this coming Wednesday? And what a better time to build on it than to complete this rebuild under Paratici, assuming that he will be, coming to Spurs and carrying on with his good work from where he left off. So I think that silverware would be the impetus for Paratici to just push forward and usher in, hopefully, a lily white age over in North London. Having said that, back to you, Jose.
So you've got Jimmy Oxford says, massive game Wednesday. The winner gets Champions League and can move forward. The losers are in a world of trouble. Drula says, like I was saying earlier, I see it linked with Vlahovic. Dan says, one day closer to Arsenal fans and United fans can cuddle each other and remember how times were different under Fergie and Wenger. United fans are in the bin with Arsenal fans to come on Thursday. Dan giving out some fighting talk. When I was talking about Vlahovic, Jimmy came in and says, or we can spend 50 million on Tel. It's a no-brainer. People are talking about his wages being 300 grand a week. I think if you're valued at 300 grand a week, you get 300 grand a week. But if you don't play to 300 grand a week, your value and wages will drop. Graham's had to shoot, so thank you very much, Graham. Ed M says, I know they've talked to Boniface, but so have Newcastle. Pay says, we wish we could get our hands on Ezzy, but with how rubbish United are. Drula says, another one we've been linked to is Jonathan David. Yeah, they said that 4 teams are talking to Jonathan David. Napoli, Juventus, Tottenham, and there was another English club as well. Dan says, people can act like this ain't make or break as well. If we don't win this game, expect rough years ahead, because when they were financing how to pay the stadium, they did not plan no Europe for 2 years. Paul Van Beek says, if we win, Walker Peters will be back on a free as homegrown in Europe. Ed M's had to run. Thank you, Ed. Drula says we have 143.5 million to spend this summer. If that's the magic number, Drula, then that doesn't include sales as well. So we need to sell players as well. Queen Ellie says no to Matthias Tel, but yes to João Paulinho, because Paulinho are getting rid of Paulinho this year as well. Drula, where you see that about we got money available? And she's asking a question. Loving the Spurs jerseys on display against Chang. Can you please pick out your favourite one for us and tell us why it's your favourite shirt? Marianne says we are always linked to this and that player, but then nothing happens. Right, Chang, you've been asked to explain why it's your favourite shirt.
Okay, this one is a bit sentimental for me, for the simple reason that this was the very, very first jersey that I ever purchased with my first ever paycheck as a young adult upon graduating, upon landing my first job. And I really had to get this jersey. I think not just because of the Chinese characters, the Chinese wordings, or the Chinese sponsor, but yeah, because it is my very first jersey. So this actually holds a very, very special and a very meaningful memento that is close and dear to my heart. And if we do win the trophy on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wearing this the whole week, just to commemorate our our cup success. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Queen Ellie.
Fantastic. Paul Pablo says the game will be settled on set pieces. I really prefer Kingsley as Vicario too shaky on set pieces. What season goalkeeper shirt is that, Chang?
Okay, this actually isn't. I don't think this is actually a goalkeeper shirt. I believe this was actually the third kit. Let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, this. Okay.
You got the blue one. You got the blue one right in front of you.
Hang on. Yes, the blue one. Okay, let me just show you the comparison then. Hang on, give me a minute. So the blue one is the away kit. The blue is yep, this is better. Yep, the blue is the away. This is the third kit, and there actually is a home kit to supplement this. I'm just going to see if I can find it back here. I saw it. Is this it? One of this. It's one of this. Let me see now. It's one of these, I think, the home kit. I think it could be this. So there you have it. There's the home and there's the third. So if you can see the comparison here, this should be the home here, the whites, and the third here. And this one here is the away kit. So that's 3. The home, the away, and the away. I mean, at the third.
Yeah.
I'm doing a pretty horrible job trying to just get the ball on the shot.
No, we understand that totally.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Daniel says my favourite Tottenham shirt is the one I was mascot in, the 1988-99 shirt. So that would be the pony shirt, would it? The pony shirt, I think he's talking about. 98-99.
I think I might have that.
But it's the blue one that he's talking about.
I have one of these ponies. I'm not sure if this is the one you're referring to, Mr. Daniel. If you want the home kit, I believe I might have the home one. Just bear with me. So this is the home. There we go. This is the one I think David Ginola made this kit famous. David Ginola, Celeste Ferdinand, Rule Fox, and a few other players, Teddy Sheringham, I believe, they were rocking this pony kit. If this is the one that you're referring to, although I'm not sure if this is.
If you have a look at the photograph, right? If you have a look at the photograph of Dan's got there, that's Dan there as the mascot and the debut mascot with Ginola in the background.
Okay. So that might be the kit that is referring to. It could be this.
The pony one. Yeah.
There we go. This should be it.
There we go. Right. Thank you very much, Chang. Shem Chang says, "Oh, come on, Mr. Chang. We all know your first job was a newspaper delivery boy on your bicycle a few years ago." Queen Ellie says, "Daniel, we are very used to rough times and years under Levy. We've come close to greatness under Poch." Good evening, Mr. Shear. I hope you're well. He says, "Bless you, Jose, for your kind words, my cobber." No need to thank me, sir. It's just wanted to let the community know that you were going through a time and to think of you and your family at this time. It's important. It's important that we stand behind those who are part of our community. So those shirts were around 2006. Jose, the white shirt, we won the League Cup final in 99, says Dan. That's the shirt. Yeah, he said that's the shirt, Daniel. Confirmed that was a shirt. Archer says, yes, I had the 97-98 home shirt, short sleeved. There you go. David Cheer says, "Good day, Chang and chat. Big love to you all." Queen Ellie says, "What a brilliant reason Chang's so endearing and what a great fan you are. What a gorgeous yellow jersey that is what Ellie's saying." And Drew is saying, "Beautiful shirt, beautiful story." Here we go to another one. Look, the Holston yellow one that he loves as well, the Hummel one. Yes, we remember these tops. Going back to, and I'm going to go back, right? Going back to about pathways and what I'm saying about Tottenham for next season. Win or lose, you've got to have the mentality that you need to improve your squad, right? And that's what I've been saying all along. You need to have the mentality to improve your squad. And what I'm going to say is Arsenal. What have Arsenal won in the last 5 years? Okay. Have Arsenal improved their squad season in, season out?
I would like to think that they have, given the amount of money that they spent. Only maybe it's not so much the players, maybe it's the manager in Arteta that's holding them back. I mean, that's one popular theory.
Forget the manager, Chang. Have they improved their squad? They've won nothing. Have they improved their squad? They have. Every year they spent money.
I would say yes, they do have. Yes, they have.
And they're finishing runners-up for 2 years on the trot. This could be third year or whatever. They've spent money, improved their squad. Right. If I go to Aston Villa haven't won any trophies. Have they improved their squad?
That's a tough question, Jose. I would like to say yes as well.
They
they have.
They have. They can't hide it. They have. Nottingham Forest haven't won any trophies. Have Nottingham Forest improved their squad?
That's a tough one to have to answer. I think they might have in the right positions, although it's not say as what do you call this, expensive, their improvements, but I would like to say yes, they have improved under Nuno, yes, the squad.
This is their third season in the Premiership, back in the Premiership. The team that they had that just beat relegation in the first season, if you look at the players they've got now, Morgan Gibbs-White, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Milenkovic, Murillo, I can go on, the list goes on. So they have improved their squad, Chang, since they first came up. Brighton and Hove Albion, have they improved their squad?
Ooh, tough one to call. I would say that they are more or less the same from the way from where they were. Is Tariq Lamptey a new signing, or was he already with Brighton before this?
Yeah,
Tariq Lamptey.
But with Brighton, for me, what I'm trying to compare to is Brighton have improved their squad season upon season, but they've not won any trophies. This is what I'm trying to get to. They've not won any trophies, but they continue to build upon their squad. Right. Last year they spent 200 million. Bournemouth, they've not won any trophies, but Bournemouth have improved their squad every year. Yeah.
Yes, they have. Yes, Bournemouth have improved for sure.
Fulham over the years have spent money and improved their squad. Crystal Palace have improved their starting 11 and their squad year on year in. So this is what I'm saying. Just because you don't win a trophy, so if Tottenham were to lose on Wednesday, what I'm trying to get to is the mindset should be that we need to improve the squad regardless. Yes, you've got a plan A and you've got a plan B, but for me, I think to myself, rip out the plan A and plan B and just go out and improve the squad. Go out and buy players that are not, and when I mean improve the squad, we need to buy players that are first team, oven ready, because that's what improves your team. That's what improves your squad. And that's what I was trying to get to, Chan. So, it's all right to talk about this because that's what I'm doing is talking. But at the end of the day, I wanted to look at the league table after I discussed what I said to see whether it stacks to make people try and understand where I'm coming from with my, we need to improve regardless. If we want to compete, and all these teams that I'm saying, majority of these teams, they weren't playing more than a game a week. If you're going to be disingenuous and say it's one game a week because you're not playing in Europe, which I don't believe, because I believe that you do play twice a week, even though you're not in Europe. You just play more twice a week if you're in Europe. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that these teams didn't have to play in 4 competitions, but they've gone out and they've improved their teams and squads year on year. We need to do the same. We can't just keep getting rid of players, right, and dumbing down our numbers, because last year we got rid of 12 players and we brought 5 in. So you've got a deficit of 7 players already. So at the end of the day, we need to go out, regardless of the result on Wednesday, we need to go out and we need to buy for the future. To whichever path we're taking, just buy for the future and make your team better. Because the only way, if we lose the cup on Wednesday, Chang, the only way that you get back into Europe, or the only way that you have a chance of winning any trophy going forward, is by improving your team, your squad. Because if we go in with a similar squad to what we've got this season, we will fail miserably next year. And I don't care who's managing the team, because the players for me still aren't good enough, which makes the squad not good enough. You've got a lot of people, like Marianne saying you've got a great collection there, Chang. What a brilliant reason, Chang. So endearing, and what a great fan you are. What a gorgeous yellow jersey that is. We are blessed to have you two fine gents as Spurs fans. Big up, Jose and Chang. Dan says, my mum has got that shirt because I got spaghetti on it years ago and I was worried I would lose the autographs if I washed it. I got Ginola, Everson, Ferdinand, Sugar, David Pleat, and Pat Jennings. Paul Van Beek says, I had the yellow Holston one. Gaza played in that one, is what he says. Then we've got Dan says that, Dan says signing Milenkovic on its own makes Forest a better team than before. Chang and Jose, if all Spurs fans were like you, we'd win the quad every season. Look at that shirt, Klinsmann. As soon as I see that shirt, it's a reminder of Klinsmann and Nick Barmby and the players like that. As soon as I see that shirt, these teams have got a winning mentality. Arteta is too much for his players. I believe with his silly ideologies, light bulb moments, you'll never walk alone on the training ground. Weird, really weird. Great point that I've made. Jimmy, I keep saying it year on, year out. You need to go and improve because everybody does that. Everybody that's focused on football focuses on improving their squad. Now, some teams like Liverpool this season, their improvement came by bringing in Chiesa. They brought Chiesa in, and I think they brought one other player in. That's all the business Liverpool did at the start of this season. So, you know, even though Chiesa hasn't played a part in it, Liverpool have gone on to win the league, but they made a couple of signings. Now, for this summer, they'll make different signings to go forward. Everybody does it, and I just feel that Tottenham don't. Tottenham have been stuck, and it's like we're in a time warp, Jimmy. We're in a time warp because we can go back to the days. I mean, we hear it's boring, but we hear all the stories about what Harry Redknapp said about the players that he wanted and what he was given. Mourinho's told us the players that he wanted and he was given. Pochettino wasn't back for 3 transfer windows or 4 transfer windows, whatever it was, 500 and odd days. You know, at the end of the day, we stagnate. We always stagnate. We never push on. And if you're going to put football front and centre, then you've got to do footballing things. And footballing things is go out, refresh, make your squad better. And, you know, what I'm trying to say is that we need to do that regardless of winning or not. We need to do that. And we need to do that every season because other teams that don't have 4 cups because they're not playing in Europe, and teams that have not won trophies still go and improve their squads. And we need to do exactly the same thing. But by doing that, I'm talking first team players. Bring first team players in. That improves your starting lineup and it improves your squad. And make the serious decisions. Make footballing decisions, however tough they may well be, you know, and take emotion aside. Yeah. Make the right footballing decision. If you make the right footballing decision, it takes you a long way. Forget emotion. And for that, there's obviously 2 players that we've got that have been with us for 10 years. To keep them both is emotional. To make the right footballing decision is let's bring new blood in. Anyway, as we were talking, Dan says, I'm also not accepting fans moan and make excuses like we have games in Europe. Yeah, well, no shit, Sherlock. It's the reason we're in Europe to play games in Europe. If you moan, don't go for Europe then. Paul Van Beek says, the other yellow Holston one you had. Here he is, and it's good evening. Good evening, Ty. I hope you're well, sir. Says evening will come on you Spurs. Big up, Jose, Mr. Chang. Ty Garrett, I hope you're well, sir. Nice to see you, sir. Nice to see you. Come on the tune this afternoon, says Queen Ellie, because they're playing Arsenal today, aren't they? I think, yeah. Jimmy 8 says, got to walk the dogs on the beach now. Have a great weekend, everyone. Jimmy, enjoy your walk with the dogs. And Wayne says, Levy won't do that. If he did, we'll be progressing and challenging every season. Either he needs to change or he needs to leave. Marianne says, yes, Jose, I hope we will buy players who will improve the team, but then there is a certain Daniel Levy. And I totally understand what you guys are saying. All I'm saying is if you're going to put football front and centre, then you need to think football. You need to think football. I'm not talking spreadsheets. I'm not talking finances. I'm not talking, you know, shiny bits of this and shiny bits of... I'm talking football terms. Take emotion out of it. Look at football terms, and then you will progress. Like Chang, I believe that if Paratici does come back, Paratici is the person who had Daniel Levy's ear the most out of anybody under Levy's and Enix's tenure. And he was allowed to do footballing things. Whether we like it, whether people like it or not, he was allowed to do footballing things. And for 2 years, he did footballing things. You say, well, what did he do? Okay, so he brought a better caliber of player to the club. Some are still with us now. You don't hit the target with every signing, but more often than not, he hit the target. he then changed the setup in the background for the academy. So we will see fruits of that labour in years to come, hopefully, if we've done it the right way. Now, at the end of the day, let him come in, let him cook, and let's go out and buy players that improve our first team. I don't think that Paratici was a let's go down the youth route system. If he brought youth players in, they were then brought in and put into the academy, right? But the majority of his signings were for first team players that would affect your first team. So that's what I'm saying there. And he says Maddison has to work on his physicality as he gets injured. He's a very slight, small lad. Porro is the prime example how to build muscle and be stronger as a small player. Some here in West London think the sun's gone into hiding, says Wayne. Right, I'm going to ask you guys because Chang and I won't be on till next Sunday. So I think it's time to roll out the score predictions, and I want everybody's score prediction for Wednesday. It's not part of the predictions that we're doing, but I want to see everyone's score prediction as you see it now, from what you know on the players that we've got and the players that we haven't got, and what Man United have and haven't got. What are your scores for Wednesday night now? So, Chang, you're the man that I start with all the time. What I'll read out everyone's predictions in a minute. What are your predictions? What's your prediction for Wednesday night? What's the score going to be, Chang?
It's going to be 1-0 to the winners, and I really do hope it's us. I cannot see this to be a high-scoring game. As much as I want it to be entertaining, I would rather win it the hard way, or rather, should I say, I would rather win it by any means necessary. I would gladly take a dodgy penalty right now for all the times we've been robbed, or rather, all the times we've been hard done by United over the decades, not even the years, the decades. The Pedro Mendes howler by what's his name? I can't remember now. I just want us to win, even if it means winning ugly. So yeah, it's going to be a 1-0 scoreline at full time.
Pedro Mendes,
regular time at that.
Pedro Mendes, the Carroll one.
Yep, Roy Carroll, that's the one. Roy Carroll. So yeah, I mean, come on. We are due some justice over United. I do know for a fact that Big Ange has yet to lose to United as a Spurs manager, and I don't think that's about to change this Wednesday. I just worry though the manner in which we do it, and right now I would gladly take, like I said, a dodgy penalty, a lucky deflected free kick, or even a contentious corner, much like the corner that Son scored directly when we last beat them in competitive knockout football. I think it was the quarterfinals? Yeah, it was the quarterfinals of the League Cup this season. So I would take any sort of winner against them. And if they want to cry over the decision, they have all summer to do so, well into next season. But my final thoughts, Jose, it's going to be a 1-0 scoreline at regular time, at full time. I'm really hoping it's going to be Spurs. Having said that, back to you, FA.
Fantastic. What we've got here then is Paige, Man United supporter, so got no reason to. She's gone 1-2 to United, but then also says further down with a dodgy winner in extra time. You have Drula's gone 2-1 to Spurs. Wayne Bonner has gone for the score that I predicted straight after Bodo Glimt, which I predicted 2-0. I think Spurs win it by 2 goals. I'm just hoping it's a clean sheet. 2-0. Paul Van Beek's gone for 2-0 and given us Son and Johnson as the scorers. Daniel is sticking with Chang's scoreline, has gone 1-0 with Solanke. Tigaro says 4-1 to Spurs. Archer's gone 2-1 to Spurs with Sonny, an injury time winner, top bins. Marianne says 2-1 to Spurs, hopefully. Dan says, if Man United go back 3 of Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof, we can hurt them. Pace says, slap head and butt fingers, always got a mistake in them, so not so confident. Drula says, we're going to see Anne's masterclass, something we've never seen before. Abdul Rahim says, Spurs 10, Man United 0, Europa League final. And Drula says 1-0. That scares me, says Drula. Anybody else? Because there's a certain person in the chat who does predictions all the time, and I'm just not seeing oh no, I did see a scoreline. He's gone 1-0 with Chang, isn't he? 1-0 with Chang. Anyone else want to give their final scores for the final? Seeing that we're not going to be, well, I'm not going to be around. I'm actually missing being around on YouTube because I'll be away with work next week. I'm in Coventry, but I have found somewhere to watch the game because I won't be back home till Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, early evening, because that's when I'm doing the results show. So the results show at the moment, I'm planning it for 5 o'clock for Thursday for the results show for this week. And then straight after that, we will do the predictions for the Premiership. And then on Friday, we will do the last set of bonuses because that will be the end of the season. Jay Ashraf says, scrappy 1-1 and then pens. But Jay Ashraf, it's a scrappy 1-1 and pens, but who wins it? Because someone has to win the penalty shootout. And you just said scrappy 1-1, then pens. Mr. Shear's never shy, is he? 5-0, come on, you effing Spurs. So we've got a 5-0 from David Shear. We've got a 4-1 from Tigaro. So the Aussies are on it, aren't they? The Aussies are on big goals, big goals. They think we're playing AFC football. We're not. This is soccer. This is soccer. We don't get as many points and as many goals as what you guys get over there in the AFC. So 5-0 and 4-1 would be an AFC score, surely, rather than a soccer score. But Taikara says, unfortunately, I can't watch, or I might have a heart attack. I hope not. Paige says, please no, Ashraf, anything but extra time or pens. Daniel, I don't think my nerves could take that. Abdul says, Archie Gray, 3 hat-tricks and an own goal. Spurs 10-0. Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope that we have brightened up your Sunday mornings, your Sunday afternoon, or your Sunday evening, or even it can't be some people it might be early Monday morning. But thank you very much for joining Chang and I in what was our 11th episode. And next week will end up being our 12th episode and probably the last one of the season, possibly. It depends whether there are any talking points throughout the summer. So we'll have to keep you peeled on that. Sorry, Jay Ashraf has come in with, I can't decide on the Pens outcome considering we have Cooley, Mads and Bergvall out. You have, take care everyone from Daniel. DC's just come. He says, I want to see 1000% shithousery game with Richarlison and Solanke bullying the hell out of them and Johnson picking up the pieces. Paul Pablo says, thanks to Jose and Chang. And Page says, take care, people. May the best team win of the night. Can I remind people, if you could, smash the like button on your way out. It'd be very, very helpful. And I need to thank Peter Kagayas for gifting out 5 channel memberships. So Peter has sponsored the show today. So thank you very much, Peter, for your unwavering support. Final words, Chang? Because I'll let you go because you're the man.
Okay. I would say this, everyone, and I think I have to end this show unlike any other show, seeing as we have a cup final coming up. Look, regardless of what you think of Big Ange, regardless of everything that has come before today in the past 2 years under him, or even the past 2 decades under Daniel Levy and Inic, nothing else matters but getting behind Big Ange and the team on Wednesday. And I honestly feel that good things are just around the corner for us. And I've said it many a time that if we have to start somewhere in terms of winning, and lifting silverware. Let it be sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed, everybody. It's going to be this Wednesday. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you again next Sunday for the 12th episode of Jose and Chang. And let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. We will be, we will be having a grand old time next Sunday. And yeah, absolutely looking forward to the lap of honor in our final league game next weekend against Brighton. And here's to us parading that trophy around North London. Because if Crystal Palace could do it against City, if Chelsea themselves are going to be doing it against whoever it is that they're going to face in the Conference League final, then I don't see why. I honestly don't see why good old Spurs should miss out on all the fun. Let it be known that, again, like I said, if we have to start somewhere, let it be now. And yeah, come on, you Spurs, have yourselves a fantastic end to this weekend, everybody. I look forward to seeing all of you next Sunday. Come on, you Spurs, and up the lads. Thank you again, Jose, for having me. Take it away.
No worries. No worries. Can I just say, Shemtam, I'm going to remind Shemtam and anyone else that wants to take part in predictions, there are 8 games to be played. First one starts in half an hour. Everton's last game at Goodison Park versus Southampton. It's the first of 8 games. There's 5 being played today, 1 being played tomorrow, and 2 being played on Tuesday. So for predictions, if you go to Wednesday's show in the stream, leave your predictions there for the 8 Premiership games, because that's all you have left is 8 Premiership games. And like that, I will take on board, because Shemtam, I was hoping that you'd hit the 100 points, but you need to play in order to do that, because only 2 weeks to go for you to do that. So anyone that's in the chat, like Rinketic has just joined the chat as well, Rinketic and Shemtam, and anyone else that wants to play, just go back to Wednesday's stream and leave your predictions there. There are 8 games and they start in half an hour. And as always, guys, I wish everybody a fantastic week ahead. I'm hoping, like we all do as Tottenham fans, that we have a great victory on Wednesday and we have something to, crow about and, and something to fill us with joy, taking us forward in what has been a pretty miserable season so far. So let's go. Let's win on Wednesday. And as always, it's come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Tel Cockerel. He's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tel Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions league done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tel Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tel Cockerel. Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tel Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tel Cockerel. one every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tel Cockerel. The show is so chilled. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tel Cockerel. Goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tel Cockerel. The show is so chill. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it